Greetings and welcome to Nature's Bounty. Here we are again with the joy in my heart, and I believe the pleasure that I have from you, that indeed we'll have a good time. This time around, I want us to look at the issues with our children. But before we do, please let's have a word of prayer and ask the Lord's blessing. Dear Father, we pray that you give us clarity of mind and understanding. Our children are very dear to us and we want to do the best to help them. Please bless us, we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen. Yes, we have children. As a mother of 5, I know what it is to care for little ones. Well, now all of them are adults. But then when they are young, and because I was a mother and I'm still a mother, I love to take care of little ones. And when I see that they are not doing well, it breaks my heart. What can we do to be sure that our children are in the best of health? Because health has to do with all spheres of our being, that is physical, mental, and spiritual. Therefore, we want our children to enjoy the best of health also. And several studies are showing us that there are some things that we can either change, improve upon, or continue to do to keep our children in the best of health. And I want to talk about that during this short period that we have together. Why are our children having behavior problems? Children, youth, well into adulthood. We are seeing the problems in schools, in colleges, and all around us. And it's not well that it should be so. Therefore, what can we do? Yes, sugar is a culprit. Sugar causes hyperactivity. But it's not only sugar that is the problem. And I want to look at the other aspects of life, or the other things that is used, lifestyle, and so forth, that may be responsible for the problems that our children are facing in having behavior problem. Diet has been well researched in relation to behavior, and there is surely a connection between the two, between diet and behavior. Therefore, what we eat, what we give our children to eat, will decide whether they are going to behave well or whether they are going to misbehave. There is a connection. Well, it is true that when you put children in the same situations, they do not always behave in the same way, react in the same way exactly, because we have different abilities and capabilities. Therefore, we have strengths better than each other. But the fact still remains that there is enough evidence to show that children's diet affects their behavior. What are the other things that our children eat that may be of the greatest disability in terms of not able to help them to be of the best behavior and also to be in the best of health? When we look at our diet, we can look at how we eat. Either we choose food, natural, plant-based, that is wholesome, not over-processed, because the more we process our food, definitely, the more we lose the nutrients in the food. And more evidences are coming in from different and all over the world researches showing that when we have young ones eating a lot of processed foods, they misbehave. Therefore, how can we help them? If we help them, we help ourselves. Happy children, happy parents. I know that from raising children. Therefore, hyperactivity in children related to the food that they eat. One food item that has been researched into, looked into, and then seen results of the effect on children is the use of dairy products. Dairy products, the milk, the cheese, the eggs, and so forth. These are the products that many children eat a lot. Well, this is a food item that is good for the body. Why are we having problems with this? One problem or an idea that we need to look at first of all is, how much do they need? And how much are we giving our children? Are we giving them too much? Or are we giving them from the wrong sources? What is the problem? What has been the problem that has been associated with the use of dairy products for children? How can we say something that will help children grow, maintain their good health, that it has problems also? Well, many things are changing in the world today, some for good and some not too good. And this may be one of those ones, dairy products. It's been found very clearly that many babies have allergies, sneezing, coughing, running nose, just being sick. Some even have eruptions on their skins from taking milk. Some have asthmatic attack after taking milk, iron deficiency, lowered immunity. Such problems have been seen to happen with children. And juvenile diabetes, a problem that affects the pancreas of some babies, and then they have juvenile diabetes. Juvenile diabetes is a problem that does not go like that. And that person, becoming adults, may have to continue to take insulin for life because the pancreas may be so injured that it's not able to produce the insulin necessary for maintenance of the body's blood sugar. Then some have constipation from taking dairy products. Others, they have running stool and dysentery and so forth. Others have bedwetting problems because of dairy. If my child, whenever I assess children and they talk to me about, oh, this child has a problem, I always like to know what they eat, because we are what we eat, especially for children. You know, their sizes are still very small. Therefore, they get the effect more than even we adults. They feel it more. And therefore, I always want to know, what has the child been eating? And how can we help the child? And a question that may come to our mind is this: how will the child get calcium? Calcium is an important element for growth, especially for the bones, and even for our blood pressure, how the heart works. Calcium is a needed item. Therefore, calcium is needed even in building blood. It's an essential nutrient in the body. The vitamins, the minerals that we have, they all combine and they work together. And calcium is a key element in all of this. How do we get it? Supposing I have a child, and the child, I can ascertain or I can guess to a high degree that the dairy product is affecting the child. What do I do? Are there alternatives? Yes, there are alternatives. All green vegetables are loaded with calcium. Sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, some call it Benny seeds in some parts of Africa. That tiny seed, whitish in color. I know that in my local country in Nigeria, they use it a lot. Some just grind it and they use it to make soup. They use it to make vegetable sauces and all kinds of things. And it can be washed, ground, and mixed with other cereal or sprinkled on cereals. It's difficult to chew it. Therefore, it's always good to grind it to some sort or break it down so that it can be easily accessible for the body. Now, these are sources of calcium. Raisins, lemon, orange. Oh yes, your orange is rich in calcium. We don't usually take all these things into consideration. Why? Because we emphasize the major vitamins in fruits. Yes, orange is very rich in vitamin C. It's also very rich in calcium. All of those fruits, figs for instance, they are very rich in calcium. And when we have all of this, we have calcium enough for our children. Why do many children react negatively to dairy products, especially milk? Milk is acid forming. It is also mucus producing. Therefore, a food that produces mucus will cause inflammation. Why? Because when the body is being made to produce mucus, it will also try to defend itself. It means that it's seeing the food as an enemy in the body, and it will begin to react against it by producing things in the body that will defend the body and protect the linings of the vessels of the body. Why usually do. Cow's milk. Now, when I say milk, I mean milk for dairy products. That's where the problem is, because we can have milk from cashew, we can have milk from almonds. All the seeds that we have, like the sesame seeds, we can make rice milk. All of these can be used as milk. This is not to say that we will not use milk at all, but we will have our milk from the plant kingdom and not from the animal kingdom, especially when we notice or we can guess to a high degree that this child is reacting to this particular food. And we can watch it. If a child has eaten a food and within 2 hours or 3 hours, you start seeing reactions like runny nose, headache, fever, recurring over and over when you use the particular type of food, then try to do something. Narrow it down. When did this happen? What type of food did this child eat when this reaction is being shown in the body of the child? And we can, most of the time, narrow it down and identify the food that may be the culprit. And because milk is a common one, it's always good to check it out to see, is it the milk that we used in our cereal this morning? I may not react to it, but the child may. Another child may not react to it, another one may react to it. Because remember, we are different. And all these are parts of the problems that we need to look into. Pasteurization was invented for the purpose of destroying the bacteria and the germs, other germs, in milk. But we are learning that when pasteurization is done, the milk is cooked to a certain temperature to destroy these germs. And what does it destroy also? The enzymes that will help the digestion of the milk. You see, when we take milk as babies, when our babies are fed breast milk, we don't cook them. They take it raw, directly as nature packaged it. When the baby calf takes milk from mother cow, it's not cooked. But when we have milk and we have to have it pasteurized, it destroys the enzymes that helps in the digestion of the milk. And we do not have as also the digestive enzymes to break down milk after the age of 2. Therefore, where we get milk from animal products, they are very difficult for the body to digest after the age of 2. Therefore, it is very essential that we begin to transition our babies from the mother's milk to plant milk to prevent allergies, reactions, many of them that many children have, to continue to have animal milks. Now, there are other issues also involved. Animals are being given a lot of hormones, growth hormones, herbicides, pesticides, other things that are toxic, but they are given in small doses. But when we take them from their milk, there is something called biomagnification that happens. It is doubled up in great magnitude in our bodies. And for many children, their bodies are not able to cope with all of these inventions that are helping to produce more milk from the animals and to have more supplies to human beings as well. And we may need very much to watch it. Beware of allergic foods, foods that are very allergic, foods that may cause a lot of problems for our children. And these are, one, milk, and I'm saying we can get calcium for the growth of the bones from other sources. Almost every green vegetable is loaded. We should encourage our children to eat green vegetables. I know when I was growing up, my mother tried, but I was resistant. But she insisted, and many times I had to eat it. But then we must not say, oh yeah, my child doesn't like it, therefore I will not give it to the child. Apart from milk, there are other food that may be causing allergies for our children. Examples, wheat. Why? Why will a good food like wheat have allergies for some persons? Yes, it does. I was told, and I've been reading and learning, that one of the problems is because there has been different modes of planting these foods. And for some bodies, they are not accepting nothing but the original one that God made. But then, for the purpose of increasing yields, there has been a lot of things that are done to the food in growth and so forth. Other things that may cause allergies are some of the soft drinks that we use, even corn, as good as it is, some people are allergic to it. Eggs, part of dairy product. Then in many of the things that we buy for our children, there are food additives, food colors in most of the processed foods that we eat. Therefore, it is good that we give our children a lot of natural foods. Foods direct from the market, foods close to how nature gave it to us as much as possible. You know, we human beings, we have advanced. And these advancements may be causing some problems for us. There are good things in all of these things, but then when they cause some problems, we need to hold on. So what do I give my child when the child needs to leave her home for school? Fresh fruits, bananas, get pineapple. Any fruit in season is just good for the children. If children learn to start eating fruits when they are very young, they will love it because that's how they are being trained. They need to learn how to eat fresh tomatoes, carrots, green vegetables. In all of these are loaded all the vitamins and minerals that we need. Then we can feed the brain of our children. How do we feed the brain of our children? Especially the frontal part of the brain, which is where we make decisions. The place where our children also will make decisions. And for them, by the age of 6, they have virtually reached, according to science, how far their brain can go. And then development and maintenance is pretty much what is left. But more and more facts are showing us that even now, with good diet, with wholesome plant-based diet, even brains that they think, oh, the cells have died, they cannot be brought back to life, they are being rejuvenated. The brain is very, very important. And the oxygen that comes into our body, the brain takes up to 25% of it all. If the electricity of our brain were gathered, harnessed together, it can light a bulb. That is how important our brains are. Now imagine the little brains of our children. We need to be careful what we give to this brain, because from birth they are still growing. And whatever we feed their brain is what will be the permanent brain that they have by the age of 6. So it is very important that take lots of foods that are well prepared at home, preferably, and wholesome as much as possible. Processed food, least quantity of processed foods in our children's diet. Processed food should not be too much percentage of what our children should eat. If the frontal lobes are not well developed, then hyperactivity, deviant behaviors, they will lean towards the evil more than the good. It's amazing how that happens, but it does happen because the frontal lobe, being the place where they make decisions, if it's not well nourished with good food, it has a lot of problems. And then they can become irresponsible as teenagers because they have learned to blame others. They have learned to push ideas that are good away from their minds. The frontal lobe is very, very important. We don't want our children to be filled with outbursts of anger, lack of decision making when they need to make decisions. They can't sustain good friendships if the frontal lobe is not well developed from childhood. Then they will have, if we don't, and I repeat that very much because whatever we do to those children when they are children below the age of 6 is very, very important. By the time they pass that age, if their frontal lobe has not been well developed with good diet that are not going to cause problems in the frontal lobe, they will lean towards the use of alcohol. They will lean towards the use of drugs. We don't want that for our children. We want them to be of the best behavior. We want them to be responsible. And it comes from giving them the right type of food that will help them to develop good brain. Sugar, milk, any other food that are allergic or that are mucus causing, we need to leave them alone. There is one other thing I would like to mention, and it's called by this author that I love so much. He says, Hope Hypnotist. That little box that is becoming large box, that is becoming wide, of which we are interacting at this point, the television. We should not allow our children to sit in front of television for hours. There are things they will learn from there. But if we put them before the screen too early, especially before the age of 6, scenes are registered in their minds. Fast-moving action on television, they are not good for the children who are not able yet to make the difference between what should be accepted as real and what is not real. So many of the things they see on the television, they take it as real to a large extent. Therefore, if we want to feed our children's brain, the screen should be very much limited, and if possible, none at all until the age of 6, so that they have normal development and not have transfer of information registered in their minds without their being able to even break it down, because at that age they are not able to do so, because we are learning that when we sit in front of the TV with a fast moving scene. Now when we are having conversational topics on TV like this, it's different from that fast moving scenes on the television that goes into most of the big dramas and films and movies that moves very fast, and then they, as it were, go beyond the frontal lobe to the point where they are just registered there. Then they come out at the time when the mind says, bring it out. They cannot judge the behaviors that are real from the ones that are not real. Lord forbid that a child will see something that they call a super something, jump from a high-rising building, and the child says, yeah, stretch his arms out and try to jump. That's an example of what a child can do, because those things are registered in the mind of the child without the child being able to judge that this is just fame, this is just something that is not real. They are not able to do so. Therefore, we should not feed the minds of our children with the movies on the screen. The phone is doing the same thing today. Watch it, and I say, as I've been seeing, if we hold our phone and a little child is there and they pick up that phone, what do they usually do? They go to where the games are, and they are playing the games that are fast on the phone, and it is not good for their brain. It affects their ability to learn properly. They will not be patient to even want to read, because those things are not good. There is a research that was done in South Africa, and I would like to share that before I go. They did a 30-year span of research, I would say, and they found that the more people watch TV, the more the homicide rate increased. How? Because at first there was no TV, then there was TV, and then there were many, many more. And the more people are able to watch this, the more they found that crime increased. Why? Because they are watching crime scenes on the television. Therefore, we really need to monitor our television for our young people. And they found that 8-year-old boy who watches television for more than 3, 4, 5 hours a day, by the age of 30, will probably be a convicted criminal from that research. Our frontal lobes are very important. We must not allow wrong stimulations for our children's frontal lobe. But if we decide we don't want them to watch all the TVs and the things that are fast on the TV, the deaths, the killings, and so forth on the TV, what do? Well, family togetherness is good. Family coming together, if inviting friends, special occasions, more time for reading and teaching them skills, sewing, painting. Doing those type of things will help the children to be more creative. Even playing classical music, reading the Bible together. The children themselves reading and say, what do you learn from this? These are ideas that can help us to teach our children very well. Then we need to teach our children balance between play and work. They need to do some work. It should not be all play, 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 or all school work. There should be a balance between the two. The moment we continue in any way, whichever we choose to do, we'll see that the children will fall in line because we'll get them involved. They'll be part of the program. We will not just be doing things out of the ordinary as they will see it if we are changing from what we were doing before. But if we have regular hours for physical labor, we have regular hours for reading, for study, we give them small employment, and then we give them what we call psychological vitamins. Lots of vitamin A, attention, approval, acceptance, accolades, pat on the back, affection, love, hugs, and smiles. The children will accept what we are trying to instill in them because they will love it. We are doing it from the love of our parents' heart. And as parents, we love our children. My children are adults now. I love them. My grandchildren, I would love to teach them all of these things. So even as grandparents, we still have the opportunity to teach the young ones. And I believe by the grace of God, that God giving me life, I would like to help my grandchildren as much as the Lord enables me to teach them these things and to help them to learn so that there will be joy to the community, joy for the family, because it is in this that we have the best that we can share with life, and others also can be encouraged to see all of these things and to bring up their children in such a way that will bring glory and honor to God. So until we meet again, this is where I'm going to pause, asking the Lord to continue to help us, to lead us, to direct us, and to give us more wisdom so that we can do the best for our own health and for the health of our children. Therefore, the Lord be with you and keep you and continue to make his face to shine upon you and bless you.